Hey guys, welcome back to Vinceville Custom. So today we're going to continue our video series with part 3 on taking a Sideshow Collectibles premium format Poison Ivy statue and converting it into a Jessie from Pokemon. Now in my last video we pretty much had to stop early because I didn't get the orders of zippers that I got off of eBay because of the whole virus outbreak. So a lot of things are delayed and I have no choice of the matter. It's just something I got to kind of deal with. But shortly after that, I did get an update on tracking for one of my second orders, and it did come in, so I got that order here. My first order came in a long time ago, but the third order is pretty much not going to come in. I think it's completely axed, so that I won't be getting. So this zipper right here is still, I can still utilize this zipper. It's really not that bad, it's just very large. So, you know, something like this, with the only options I have now, if I really want to put a zipper going all the way down here, I can still utilize this zipper here, which I'm debating yet if I still want to do this. Then what I do is if I put this zipper in here, I can actually put a little bit of extra AVs on the right and left side of it just to kind of shrink the zipper down so it's not so wide. So I'm still debating that if I want the zipper coming down here, which I still want a long zipper. Now I did get my second order in, which are these zippers here, and these zippers are really great. I do like these. They're in really great scale, except they're just not long enough. That's the problem. So I think maybe I might utilize these for another statue down the line, or maybe I can utilize it for the back of the skirt, or maybe I can utilize it for her jacket. So I think these zippers right here are not long enough for what I was hoping for, but they're in perfect scale. So I got to kind of like, just kind of see what I'm going to come up with for this type of project because we're limited. Now, like I said, I can't go to a hobby store, I can't go to clothing stores right now, everything is shut down. So it's kind of a good, like, you know, project where let's see if we could come with the best outcome with what we have now. So we're gonna kind of go that route with this because, you know, if I try to order stuff online from overseas, this probably take months for it to come. And when all the stores open back up, they probably won't have what I'm looking for because I remember looking even before everything shut down. I really didn't find much. So, it's like I said, I think for this project right here, for the back of her boots, we want a long zipper. So I think I'm going to utilize these zippers here. And then we'll just shrink the sides a little bit with putting A's on over on the side of it. And that should work out pretty well there. So we'll have a nice long zipper going back there. We won't utilize this piece here though because this is too big and it's not going to work right. So we'll just kind of put like a little bit of a square or something up there, or a little bit of a strap to kind of hide what might be there, you know, like the zipper piece. So I think that'll work out pretty well there. And then like I said, when we get to the skirt, you know, like I said, I want to have a little bit more fun with the skirt area. So what I'll probably do is maybe utilize one of these zippers for the back of the skirt like that. So it looks like, you know, she zips it up in the back, and I think that would look pretty cool that way. So we'll utilize that. So I only have 3 of these because I only bought an auction of 3 because I wasn't really sure at the time if these were in scale. And I always do that. If I find something in scale and I like it, then I go back and I order a bunch of them. I didn't want to order like 5 of these auctions and then all of a sudden they're not what I wanted and I'm sitting on them forever. So that's kind of what I usually do whenever I come across stuff. And like I said, maybe if when I do her shirt, if I really like the way these zippers are looking, maybe I could kind of unzip this here like this and then utilize it for like her shirt going on like that, you know? I don't know, we'll see. We'll kind of toy with it down the line. So these 3 right here are probably going to be utilized for the skirt and the shirt. We'll see. And we'll go with these large zippers that I'll shrink down on my own for the back of her legs. So I think that's what we have to come up with now. So the next step is I'm going to go into the garage. I'm going to drum out these legs here. I'm going to drum out coming down here. I'm going to drum out coming down here. We'll get the zipper in, and then I'll decide what kind of design I might want to do with these boots. I was kind of toying with like a really cool little design like this. Maybe I'll change it up and do something different. If this zipper was a little bit thinner and longer, I might have decided to do zippers on the sides because I kind of like the idea of zippers are always on the side too. But since her legs are kind of bent, it would be hard to do this zipper. Going backwards on a straight line is a little bit easier. So that's kind of what I'm going to do at that point. So that's our next step. And then while I'm doing that, I'm probably going to touch up some more areas on the boots down here. Kind of clean up some stuff around here. Get this a little bit more organized and cleaned. And then we're really going to try to focus on the boots in this video. We're going to try to get these completely done. Get it exactly where I want it. and then we'll start working on doing the skin, you know, the legs, thighs up around here, and then we'll start focusing on around the skirt and the waist, and then we just keep working our way up on the item. So let me get this drilled out, and then we'll try to get these zippers installed, and we'll finish up these boots. Alright, so I had a chance to get into the garage, and I dremelled out the back of the leg here, and I dremelled out the back of the leg there. I didn't go too deep, but I didn't go too shallow. I wanted enough in there where I could put in some aves, and the zipper really bonds to the aves pretty well. I learned in the past sometimes when I don't drill in deep enough and I put in aves and I try to get something stuck on there and there's not enough aves grabbing it, and it just kind of like pops up and it doesn't stick. So I'd rather have a nice chunk of aves in here and let this really, you know, bond to it pretty well. Now, it's a good thing that I'm actually going to be utilizing the zipper now that I think about it, because I have a package of 20 of them, and if anything happens, so basically we're not using this piece here, we're cutting off this top piece. So if I cut these two pieces off and I'm working on this, if for some odd reason I'm not careful and it starts splitting on me like this, you know, if it starts splitting on me, the zipper should go down. Right? If it starts splitting on me, it's a nightmare to get it back without this zipper piece. So it's kind of a good thing I have extras of these in case anything happens. Because if those three small metal ones I showed before, if I did it up here and say, you know, say I messed up and I put too much aves in there and I squeeze it into the zipper and I have to rip it out, I don't have any extras of those really to utilize it. So I'll have to be very careful with those when I do the back of the skirt and the jacket. But for back here, I have so many of these, I can kind of like, okay, if I mess this one up, I can rip it out, cut another one, and put it in. So that's kind of like a good thing to think about if you're ever utilizing stuff like this. Make sure you have extras in case you mess them up. So I'm just going to put some aves in here and work out this one. Now this one should be easy. This is a plastic zipper, so going down around the leg in here with some aves should be no problem. It should go in there like that. I want to make sure that the zipper is not too deep, but it's not sticking out. This one's more of a problem. I remember a while back I worked on something like this with a zipper, and I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I was able to fix it. It wasn't like it was the end of the world, but when I put it in, it was fine. When I walked away and came back, it started like to pop up like that. So something like this where it's kind of like bending like that. You see how like the zipper is plastic, it doesn't really want to do that. So that's something you got to think about. So it's just something that I got to mix up the aves, put it in there, and watch it within the next hour or so, making sure it sticks. If the aves is tacky enough and it's strong, it'll help stick no problem. But if you're really not paying attention, you can kind of mess it up when you come back to it. So you got to keep an eye on that. So let me mix up some aves and then we'll get these zippers on, and hopefully tomorrow I can roll out some thin aves and I can layer it on this side, I can layer it on that side, and we'll have a nice zipper, and I can start doing some more wrinkles and I can stylize all the boots the rest of the way. Alright, so as of right now, it's the next day, and what I did is I sanded down the areas around the edges here because it wasn't perfect. But I got those sanded down, I hit it with some quick primer. It's dried up and ready to go. So I mixed up some Aves and I cut a nice straight line on this. It's easier to do one straight line here than try to make it perfect. So I can lay it on top just a little bit over the edge. Not completely in there, but just a little bit to kind of make this zipper sort of close in a little bit. And then sort of have something like, looks like the zipper is inside an area. And then what I'll do is this side here today, I'll grab the other leg and do that side because I have the other part of this on that. I'll let it cure up for the night. And then tomorrow what I could do is I could do these sides. And then once that's done, I smooth this out and get this cleaned up, fix up some areas around here. I could probably try to stylize the rest of the boots, get it to where I want it, and then start working out the thighs. So we're pretty much moving along pretty well now. And that these zippers are pretty much in here. So it should work out the way, at least I have it in my head. But we'll see how it ends up. Alright, so I was able to sand this down today. We did a little bit of priming, so I got this area looking pretty decent. I really like the way it's looking out. Like I said, I'm going to have to tweak up some of this a little bit, maybe work out the lines a little bit better. Back here, I definitely want to add pieces that look like zippers, you know, something at least kind of there, nothing too crazy. So what I did do is I used my Tamiya Basic Grade putty. I've been going around the areas here and there. So on this one, I saw a little spot while I was moving her around. So there is a little spot over in here. So usually what I like to do is throw the putty in the area I see the spot. And sometimes I just let it thicken up a little bit of an area because you're putting gray on gray. And if you do it really smooth and really fine, which is okay, but then sometimes what my problem is, I'll miss it and then I'll go prime up the item, and then when I'm looking at the light I realize there is an area of putty I'd never sanded. So that kind of happens with that. But we're looking pretty good. We're getting there. So what I like to do though is kind of, this is the end of the night anyway, so I'm going to let all this putty kind of dry. Sometimes if you put a lot of putty on here, this basic gray, when you do it in very, very thin layers, it works out fine. But if you throw in a lot, like I threw in a really lot of layers here, I usually like to let it dry a little bit longer to really cure, because if you don't, this putty sort of kind of wettens up your paints and your primers, and then you really just kind of rip it off. You don't really like sand down and get it smooth. So you just gotta let it dry for like an extra day or so. But you know, if you kind of work the way I work projects, you know, you work on a bunch at a time, it makes things life easier. So once I pretty much get all that done, we can start attaching the leg, and we'll pretty much be finished up. Okay guys, so I had a chance to get into the garage and sort of prime this up and clean it up. So I got the leg boots up here where I wanted on the thighs. You know, I looked at a lot of anime kits online, and I like the way they kind of like, you know, squeeze up the skin a little bit and it's nice and tight. So it's kind of like a little bit of a throwback to some anime kits. You probably could see some shading because of the light coming down. I got to do putty work around here. I got to do some putty works around up here as well. We had a little bit of bleeding of primer over in here where my thumb is. So it's going to be a lot of tedious stuff now to get it all cleaned up. Off camera, by the time we come back, you'll see I'll have some kind of zipper thing kind of sculpted in here and here, just to give it a little bit of an idea that there's a zipper there. And then after that, I did have a little spill where it just kind of slipped out of my hand and I cracked some Aves over here by the foot. So it's just a matter of throwing some Aves back on there and sanding that down. So it's just easier to get all this primed up and you know, cleaned up. So it's just tedious work. I'm not going to film it. I'm not going to go over all of it because it's just a matter of priming, putty work, smoothing it down, wet sanding it, priming again, and getting everything cleaned up. You don't want to attach your leg like this right now and then all of a sudden, you know, when you're ready to go paint, or if you're working on something, all of a sudden you see an error here, you see an error underneath in here, and it becomes a nightmare to get between the legs. So you always want to make sure everything's cleaned up. So even by the light now, I'm seeing some stuff I need to do some putty work and clean. So it's just a matter of a lot of just tedious and just getting stuff cleaned up. I'm seeing some stuff over here. So usually what I'll do is when I start seeing stuff, like in the light you might not be seeing it, but I see something right here and then I see something over here. So I just have my blue pencil and I start marking some stuff where I need to put some putty. You know, I know I need to get some putties around here. You know, it's just a matter of getting in the light. Sometimes even going outside on a nice day where it's sunny outside but your garage is dark, you could kind of like, you know, play with the lighting, and you might even see some more stuff that I'm not seeing in the studio. Like, you know, there's a little spot over here I need to throw some putty. Stuff like that. Over here there's some bleeding of primer, so, you know, just a little bit of arrow there, just some primer putty, you know. Some stuff over here and over here. Like over here, I missed the spot with priming today, so I'll prime it tomorrow. After I do some more stuff, I'll probably find some stuff there. You know, the little spot over here, I might want to throw some putty. You know, stuff like that. So I'm going to make sure I get all these nice and cleaned up and ready to go. So by the time we come back with the next video, we're going to be ready just to attach the leg onto the hip. We can start cleaning all that up. We can start working out the skirt, and that'll be focus of the next video. And then we'll also, once we attach the legs and everything, we're going to set her up on the base. So this way I could get the base mailed out to Meta John. He can actually etch out the Poke symbol while I'm doing everything else, you know, and all that stuff. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And we'll be back with some more of the next videos.